I'd just like to do a quick intro about Centonomy, right? At Centonomy, our mission is to shift the mindsets of purposeful people so that they can create wealth and live abundantly, all right? And if you're wondering if you are that person, yes, you are. Because, ladies and gents, let me tell you something. The hardest part is showing up, which you've already done, right? So I can tell you for sure that you are a step ahead in your wealth creation journey, all right? Now, we talk about wealth at Centonomy and the various ways of creating wealth. The first one, of course, being how you handle your day-to-day finances, your personal finances, also how you grow your business or how you are able to grow in your career, all right? So those are the three areas that we focus on, yes, at Centonomy. And those are the areas that you can leverage on to grow wealth, all right? Now, I have said this word wealth many times, and I'd like to just say what we believe wealth is at Centonomy. At Centonomy, we believe that wealth is the ability to live and to maintain the lifestyle that you desire without having to work for it, all right? I repeat, at Centonomy, we believe wealth is the ability to live and to maintain the lifestyle that you desire without having to work for it, all right? And if you're wondering, wow, how am I able to get to that place called wealth, where I am living the lifestyle I desire, driving the car that I like, living in an estate that I like, in the house that I like. Maybe if I grow up, my family is well taken care of. We go to holidays, you know, without us struggling, right? If you're wondering what you can do, then you're in the right place, all right? Great, right, I don't want to take more time. I want to welcome Erick. Erick Jackson, karibu sana. The floor is yours. Erick, if you're with us, you can now turn on your video, and yes, we can get to hear from you.
Hi, Michael, can you hear me?
Yes, Erick, we can hear you.
Yeah, I think I was saying, unfortunately, I don't know why I can't turn on my video. It's saying the host has stopped it, so maybe just check from your end. Yeah, but I'm really, really glad to be here. I can see we have people from everywhere. Yeah, I've just been looking through. I can see people from, I think I've seen someone from the Netherlands, someone from Uganda, someone from New Delhi. I can see a lot of UON, a lot of KMU, KU, Cooperative University. And it's really great to see youth taking a step or taking that initiative to actually want to manage their finances. So yeah, I think for me, it's for everyone who's joined, you've done half the job. As Michael said, I think part of once you show up, I think you know, you're already halfway there through your financial literacy journey. So really glad to be here and welcome everyone. So yeah.
Yes, yeah, thank you for the introduction. You can start now.
I think for me, maybe how we want to do this. I want it to be very, very interactive with the audience, because I think the first thing that we learn, or the first thing that we say, is that personal finance is very personal. So I can't really come here and give you and sort of like give you steps and a template to sort of get your personal finance in order to start investing. But I think what we can do and what we try to do is to share with you best ways or best practices in which you can actually learn and be more aware about your finances, your debt, and then from there you can be able to now actually take steps towards becoming financially healthy or financially literate. So yeah, so maybe let me start with an introduction and a bit of a story about myself. So my name is Erick Jackson. I am a trained electrical engineer, studied electrical engineering at Moi University. But I think along the way, I got interested in software engineering and specifically programming, and basically taught myself how to develop softwares, websites, and I think, and I started that when I was first in campus. Actually, the actual way in which I sort of got into programming by mistake sort of was that when I joined Moi University as a first year, you know, there's always that period where people need to apply for KRA, people need to apply for help, you know, especially, you know, when you're fresh, when you're a freshman. So I actually teamed up with a friend of mine, and we started offering those services to fellow students for them to apply for basic things like their help, apply for their KRA, because it was around 2009. So yes, people had phones, but it was basically ideas. So smartphones weren't as they are now. And again, the internet and cyber cafes were a bit expensive to use. So for us, we really started off by just offering someone to, you know, help them apply for help. What we would do is we would charge them, like, I think 50 bob. I don't remember what it was. It was some small amount of money, but it was really helpful, because we used to get these requests in the thousands. So whenever there's a new cohort of students coming in the university, maybe 1,000 or 2,000, we'd set up a desk, you know, and tell everyone, instead of going to the cyber and waiting for queues, you could just drop us your details. We would process those details overnight. The next day you'd have your help, you'd have your certificate, you'd have whatever you wanted. So for us, for me, that's how I actually started and got into technology. Then I think after that, I got somehow interested in programming and software development. So I really started setting up side hustles, so, you know, just doing basic gigs like doing a website for someone, doing someone's school assignment, you know, just the most basic stuff that you do while in campus, because you have learned a new skill. So yeah, so I think fast forward after campus, I worked briefly at Kenya Airways as a software engineer. But then after that, I quit to start my own company called Nano Digital a few years ago. And then after that, transitioned to another advertising company again called MediaPar, which I still own. And then eventually now, more recently, what we're doing is at Kenyan Wallstreet and Hisa is now we want to, first of all, teach more Kenyans and Africans about financial literacy, you know, just making you aware about how to build your wealth. And again, wealth in this instance is not a lot of money. I think that is one of the biggest misconceptions. Wealth, I think, for me is having that peace of mind to and the peace of mind to, you know, to be sort of like financially free, so to speak. So think about it. There's someone who wealth to them means with 1,000 shillings, you know, they're wealthy because they can take care of all their problems. So think about wealth not as cars, big houses, but really you being in a state of mind where you are actually free from any financial burdens like debts. Yeah, so I think it's very important for you, especially as youth, to get rid of that misconception, and then to actually focus on getting healthy financially, rather than, you know, getting the cars and whatever other things that are sort of like distracting. So yeah, so in a long-winded way, I think that's basically about myself. So coming to today, I think I'm really glad about the work that Centonomy does, and I'm especially very keen about the work that they do with the youth. I think when I met Michael, it was again at sort of like an event like this that was basically aimed at helping the youth, and I'm glad that our visions and get people to understand more about finances. Yeah, so I think let me sort of get into the meat of it. I think that's enough introduction for now. So today I really want to sort of share my own stories, but also I want to listen or get a few questions and a few comments from the audience as well, because I think, as I said, personal finance is very personal, and it will vary to everyone who's joined on this call. But I think there's a couple of things that you can do as a youth that would sort of try and help you be more conscious. And again, these things are things that we recommend that you start early. I think one of the and by the power of compounding, I think the best example is usually someone like Warren Buffett. I think maybe if you follow global news quite clearly, you know who Warren Buffett is. And I think Warren, it's for Warren Buffett, they say 90% of the wealth he has now, he has actually gained it once he got, from year 51. But actually what happened is Warren invested when he was in his teens, 11, 12 years old. But all that investment was really from when he was 12 to 50 years, it only makes up like 1% of his wealth. But now from year 51, then since whatever investments he's been doing start to compound, then he actually now starts gaining wealth much faster. So I think it's all of you are here and are keen to start early. And for us as Hisa, we want to actually give you the tools with Centonomy. So I think I was kicked out for a minute. Yeah, so maybe to start off, I'm just going to I'm going to share with you a link. I think the host can share with you the link about Hisa, so you can check it out and see what we do. Why? So you're going to read news on personal finance. You're going to get discussions as well on investing, and you'll be able to access some of the investment options. But I think for the purpose of this discussion, we shouldn't yet go to that investing part. But if you're really interested in sort of just learning, first of all, it will be very good for you to actually check out Hisa, install it on your end, and you will be able to actually start that journey. So then, more specifically, then about looking at then sort of financial planning. So one of the key things that you can do as a youth is actually very basic, just tracking your expenses. So as I said, you're in campus. You, yes, in as much as you're studying, you have some sort of like so am I visible? It's still lagging. Michael, maybe.
You are visible, Eric. You are audible. You're visible.
Okay, cool. I think there's a comment saying I'm hanging, so I was just confirming.
You're good now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so tracking your expenses is very, very important. And by tracking your expenses, I'll explain to you why this is very important, especially for planning. It helps you know which areas you're actually spending the most money on. So think about maybe you've been sent your whatever your pocket money, or you've been given funds by either your parents or your guardians. What you can do is actually start looking at how are you spending that cash. So of course, when you're in campus, you're bound to have some some enjoyments, weekends, and all of that. But I think it's very important for you to actually just track those expenses and see what would be the major things that you are spending your cash on. What that does is it allows you to actually then sort of have that discipline, and to have that to develop that habit. You already pick up those habits. You look for tools to actually help you record expenses, and there are quite a number of free apps that can help you record your expenses and track them over time. And they will actually look at how are you spending and which specific areas are you spending your most cash on. So I think that would be very, very key for anyone who just wants to, actually just, it's sort of like an audit. You're auditing yourself, you're doing a self-audit on yourself to know, okay, when I get X amount of money now, how am I spending this cash? And how can I be more conscious to sort of like know or cut off the unnecessary expenditures. And then the other thing is obviously a side hustle, and I know most of you might already do that. So in campus, you have classes maybe once a day or a couple of times in a week. The rest of the time, use it to do whatever you're good at. As I was sharing earlier myself, I got interested into programming and software development. So all my part time was really used to do websites for people, do programming assignments for people, and this was both locally and on online platforms. So think about freelancer.com, Fiverr. I think locally we have gohustle.com. So very, very active in those freelancer programs, and I would go bid for jobs, and try and get those jobs and deliver them as fast as possible. So yeah, in your free time in campus, look at what can you do beyond just studies. If you can do academic writing, do that. If you can set up an Instagram shop to sell stuff, by all means do that. So yeah, what that does is it helps you to have sort of like an input stream, an income stream. And I know when you join the classes that Michael was talking about earlier, one of the key things they will stress is having multiple income streams, and just having that side hustle where you're like, in as much as it can bring you 100 bob in a day, in a week, in a month, that is still income nonetheless. So quite important for you to actually sort of like have that side hustle. The third thing I would say is invest in yourself. I think I can't stress this enough. And by investing in yourself, I mean you should always be your biggest supporter. You should always believe in yourself the most. You should always have your back. And I think I'll give you a quick, again, story about my own journey and my own way in which I did this. So I think obviously when you're in campus, again, you don't have quite that amount of money. I think for me, one of the few things that I did early on was get myself a good laptop, because I knew it was very central to me actually learning software development and doing the jobs that I was doing. So in as much as it really cost me an arm and a leg at that time, for me, I was like, you know what, yes, I'm going to spend this 60K, and that was about in 2010, I was, I'm going to spend the 60K to get myself a laptop, because I know eventually it's going to help me in the long term to actually improve my skills, and it's going to earn me more in the long term. So really, really important for you to actually invest in yourself and know that if you're doing something now, it's going to, the fruits, you're going to see them in a couple of years. So if you're a designer, look for those Udemy courses, look for whichever I'd say places where you can learn to improve your skills, and seek those out. And if sometimes it costs you, you should be willing to pay that cost now and learn and improve your skill, because later on I think it's really going to come in handy to yourself. So yeah, invest in yourself. If there's anything that you should take away, is that you should always invest in yourself first, because I think as in your 20s or in your teens, in your 20s and teens, it's really about how much you learn and how well you're able to improve your skills, that will really help you later on. And then the other things is try and get a mentor. And in this way, I think, again, I'd just like to demystify mentorship. So mentorship is not, that very successful, entrepreneur or very, someone in a high-ranking job. Mentorship is basically someone who is ahead of you in any field or in any way. So, and it's basically someone who is ahead of you in any field or in any profession, and who can actually offer you advice. And the way I look at it is, what that does is it opens you up to their networks. So think about this way: when you're in, say, your first year, your second year, there's third years, fourth years who already know all the ins and outs of the school, and you actually just reaching out to those people and connecting to them and constantly bugging them about advice and asking them how they would go about hypothetical problems is really, really important, because at the end of the day, what it does is it opens you up to their network. So they're probably looking for a job, they're probably maybe already doing some jobs with some people, and by you reaching out, it allows them to then actually also open up those networks to yourselves. For instance, let's say you're a graphic designer, and there's already people in third, fourth year who are very good graphic designers. What you reaching out means is that at some point that guy is going to get a job that he might see is below his skill level, or he wouldn't want to work on it, and they're actually going to pass that job over to you, because you reached out and they know you, and they can actually recommend you to other people within the network. So we should stop looking at I'd say mentorship as these mythical, where you have to to look at all the successful James Mwangis or the CEOs or a couple of banks or Safaricom to actually get mentored. Mentoring is basically getting someone who can hold your hand and be there and willing to listen to you and sort of give you advice. And I think for me in my career specifically, I've had those people at every step of the way. And I've always reached out to give a hand, sort of, and just ask questions and say, you know what, this is what I'm doing. How would you go about this? What do you think is the best way for me to go about XYZ? And having that support system is really, really, really important, because what it does is you actually learn along the way, and you get to meet more people as well. So really, really important that you as yourself, you start reaching out to to people who you think are in your field and that are a bit ahead, and then you can ideally learn a thing or two from them. And obviously now with mentorship comes the element of networking, because at the end of the day, it's about how do you grow a community, how do you meet more people, how do you expand who is already in your network. So through your mentors, through your friends. I think right now the internet is one of the biggest tools, and I'm glad that I don't have to explain the power of the internet to you who are basically Gen Zs. I think you guys are the best users and the best use cases for internet. So really important that you build that network, both online and offline, of people who you can first of all share your products with, people who would be supporters of what you're doing. And I think at the end of the day, you're going to see a lot more value coming from that. So I think at this point I would want to take a break, take a few questions, and then we can be able to sort of go to the next phase. So I think if you have any questions, you should ask your questions, and from there I'll be able to hand it back to Michael and Tim.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Eric. Now, before we even go to the question, I'd like to say that Eric and I had not discussed what we are going to talk about today, and it's like he's talking exactly like what I have in my notes. So, Eric, you talked about business opportunity, especially in campus, and how you started business when you're in campus. And I also wanted to talk about that because in campus, we have a lot of time in campus, right?
Yeah.
We've been there, so we know. We have a lot of time, and opportunities are all over. Now, it is just us to see how we can get to tap into that opportunity and make some money out of it, because at the end of the day, it's money we are looking after, right? And then we create wealth, right? Great. And I like what you said, that how you started, right? You identify a problem and then you solve it for guys, right? And then you said that wealth is all about peace of mind at the end of the day, right? And I cannot take that away from you, right? Now, you talked about tracking your expenses, and that is exactly what we do, all right? So we talk about that a lot in Centonomy, because if you're not able to take care of your 1 shilling, of your 2 shillings, your 10 shillings, your 100 shillings, then how are you able to take care of the millions that you are planning to get, right? So it starts with the what you have right now, right? So if you're not able to track your expenses, then it might be hard to even manage the big amounts that are coming your way, because I know they're coming, right? Now, at Centonomy, we give you the tools to do so, right? Just like Eric was saying. So we give you a Centonomy spending tracker, right? Where you're able to input what you've spent your money on, and then you input the category, and then you're able to actually look at it at the end of the week and say, well, all right, so this is what I spent on this, right? And that now shows you a picture of where you spend your money, or how you spend your money, because many of us don't know where our money goes, right? And it's our money. We work hard for it, but we don't know where it goes, right? So we should know where our money goes. Each and every single cent, we should know where it's going, right? Right, great. And then you talked about increasing your streams of income. The wealthy say they have at least 7 sources of income. And my goal this year, actually from last year, is to have one extra source of income every year for me. And yesterday was, last year, I added another stream of income. And this year I am working again to add another one, right? So I have my job, I have another stream of income and another, so that I can have multiple streams of income, right? The wealthy have 7. So I am at 2 right now. So I'm on my way. Remember, guys, the first step is showing up, right? And then you said you have to focus on assets. Now, but you said this differently. You said that you bought a laptop, you invested in yourself and bought a laptop worth 60. Right? Now, we call that focusing on assets, right? Now, an asset, we say, is something that puts money in your pockets, right? Now, but again, it depends on how you use it. Eric, you'd have bought your laptop, but you'd be watching Netflix, playing games. You know, it was money 20, 10, 60K. That must have been a very good laptop. So, you know, you could be gaming and watching Netflix and doing all these things on YouTube. But what did you do? You use that laptop to get money, right? So now the laptop becomes an asset, right? Because it is putting money in your pocket. So guys, we cannot focus more. We cannot emphasize more on that. You need to focus on asset, and an asset is something that's putting money in your pocket. So if you have a laptop, if you have a phone, how can you use that to put money in your pockets, right? And then you said, get a mentor. And actually, that is the last bit of our class at Centonomy Campus Edition. It's a mentorship class where we get someone who's been able to achieve the things they've been able to achieve at quite a young age, right? And then they take us through their journey. Yes, and we see that actually this thing is doable. If so-and-so was able to do it at such a young age, then I can also do it, right? Now, Eric, I want to challenge you today. Hisa app, and I'm really excited about this because we're coming up with a partnership where guys who register for the Centonomy Campus Edition program, we're going to give them a trading platform, right? Where they can start mock trading, right? Yes. So guys, register for the Campus Edition program, and you will definitely get a chance to experience Hisa, and you can start trading, mock trading, where you can, sort of simulations, you know, how you can start.
I think maybe just to elaborate on that more. So, you know, right now, when you're in campus, we want to give you a place where you can actually learn and try out investing without actually putting in real money. So, you know, what we'll do with Centonomy is when you register for that class, we'll give you a sort of like a demo account and load up, let's say 100,000 virtual money for you. Then what that does is, you know, you're able to trade every day on US stocks, Kenyan stocks, you know, different assets, and learn, you know, how they can perform. So I think Carol Mururi had asked a question: how do you avoid making mistakes in the stock market? If I take some of my held loan to buy stocks, so I'm going to answer you 2 ways. Don't take held loan to buy stocks. So what we say is you only invest the money you're willing to lose, and I do not think you're willing to lose your held loan. But you know, how to avoid mistakes? What we'll do now with that is we'll give you a way to experience and to experiment and to learn. So we'll give you 100K virtual money. You don't have to use your help. Then over a period of 3 to 6 months, you will learn actually how to invest and how to look at the key performance indicators for buying and selling companies. Then after the 6 months, once you feel like, you know, you have learned a few things, then now you can take your $5. At Hisa app, the minimum you can invest with is $5, which is about 570 shillings. So put 570 shillings in there, buy one stock, see how it performs over a week or a month. If there's some gains, if you've actually seen that you can actually pick some stocks, then you can increase that gradually. I think, again, for you right now, the point should not be to make quick money. The point should be to look at compounding. your gains you're making right now. If you make 10%, 20% gain every year in 20, 10, 30 years, that's really now some substantive amount of money. So for me, I'd advise you to, just take it very slowly, learn fast, and then start again very slowly and build up from there.
Correct. Guys, don't take your help money and tafadhali. Why? Because your help money is not actually your money. It's a loan you've taken, right? And the thing with loans is you have to pay back at a stipulated time, a stipulated amount, right? But now the thing about the stock market is it's a market and it's traded every day. And the value of shares or stocks is dependent on many factors, economic conditions, politics also involved, affects stocks. So just imagine you've put your help money in a stock and then something happens, in a political year, elections, or something happens, a certain company doesn't do so well, the company that you've invested in, and the stock goes down. What happens? You lose your money. But remember, this again was not your money. So you've lost someone else's money that you will have to pay back, right? So at Centonomy, we do not advocate that you take a loan to invest, all right? First of all, because the loans that we take have some interest on it, right? So let's say, let's assume a flat interest of about 14%, right?
Yeah.
So that interest rate of 13% you have to pay. Now, for you to make sure that you've paid that money and you've taken a loan, that means that the loan that you've taken should be able to give you more than that, right? More return, more than 14%, so that you can actually pay back the loan. And then also, if possible, get something for yourself, right? And guys, if that was the case, then everyone would be taking loans to invest, right? But it's not the case. So that's why we do not advocate for you to take a loan to invest. But unless you know that this investment is going to give me a guaranteed return, right? Great. Right.
Yeah, now, there are three questions.
Yes,
I see that I had mentioned that I would want to just take.
Yes.
So I think someone says, I have two friends, we meet to catch up and use 3K every time we meet. I'm comfortable using 3K for just entertainment, but I also don't want to lose their company. What would you advise? I'm uncomfortable using the 3K. I think one of the things that I would advise is that you have to make sure that company is worth more than 3K that you're spending. I think for me, that's the key thing. So if I'm meeting up with Michael, and when we meet up, we have discussions, we use 3K, yes, but out of that meeting, we make moves that are going to make millions. Then for all means, meet those people every day. But if it's just enjoyment, and then at the end of the day, there's nothing that comes out of it, please, just give excuses and start running away, because I think, as Michael said, focus on yourself. If you're just spending 3K every week and you're not getting value out of it, I don't think you should keep doing that. Martin, you had asked about having multiple income streams. Should I start a business or invest my money in a business that's already operating and can generate profit? So I think that depends on a couple of things. Again, when you go to the Centonomy class, you'll be taught about all the different investment options. And investing or entrepreneurship is all about your risk appetite. So if let's say, yes, you have the cash to invest, but your risk profile is you do not like risk, it's very low risk. I think Michael and team are going to tell you, put your money in a money market fund, and you're going to get 10% returns on your money every year. You get, because what you're doing with, say, money market funds or bonds or all of those things is it's very low risk, but the returns are assured, although they are not very high returns. But if you're someone who's more risk averse, Then you can look at the other asset classes. You can look at trading in the stock market. And if you actually have that drive to start a business, be there every single day to make sure that that business can be, then of course you should go to the entrepreneurship side of things. But I think it will be very important for you to go through the program to actually learn how to know where your risk profile is before you actually make a decision of if you should start a business or if you should invest that money in another business or in the stock market or circles or in whatever ways. So Lydia, how would you advise on help repayment after campus? I think this is one of the key things that Michael and Tim talk about in the program as well. And again, for this, there's no template because, as I said, personal finance is very personal. I remember for myself, once we finished campus, there were people who got jobs offers when we were in campus. The people who got 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years later on. So we really can't say, after campus, make sure you start paying your help in month 1, and you don't have any income. So I think this is really about you putting down all your debts, and we'll talk about debt in the in the program. So knowing like short-term debts, mid-term debts, and long-term debts. So short-term is your Fuliza, which is the most expensive, and I think always the advice we give is get rid of short-term debt completely. And then you look at the mid-term and the long-term, and then you plan and have a plan in place about how to repay all of those over time. So I think the program will really be good for you as well, Lydia. Margaret, I'm at school, and at the same time I have opened a company where I have 2 employees. But on the financial basis, I'm unable to delegate to the team to handle accounting and end up having miscalculations leading to loss. I think, Margaret, I am sure you know a friend who's doing accounting, who's good with numbers. Please don't be afraid to reach out for their help, and don't be afraid to actually open up sort of like your business to them. I think for me, especially early on in my company, I've always relied on close friends or on friends to be able to help me with those things that I do not know. And in this case, like accounting is really major in finance. So there's 2 ways. You can try and learn it on your own, or you can get a very close friend who's actually good in it, and they can help you to actually just learn and to actually get your finances in order. I see a lot of questions. I don't know if we should continue taking them, Michael.
Yes, I see also a few questions, so let me get into them.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone was asking how they get it on to Hisa, and you put the links there. But again, guys, register for the program, and you'll get a demo account, and you will have money to invest, not actual money, but fake money to invest, so that you don't lose that money. So, but the thing is, you get to learn the principles of how you invest, right?
Yeah.
Great. So Robinson is asking about is an ROI of 25% good enough? Robinson, is that ROI guaranteed? Show me now, right now, an investment that is giving you an ROI of 25% guaranteed. Please show me.
I will quit my job.
Thank you, Erick. Thank you, Erick.
I think, Robinson, it's, when people look for high ROIs or high returns, it's, the biggest or the fastest way to get into scams or shady deals. So you're better off getting your 10 to 15% returns over 30 years than 25% today, and then everything is wiped out the next year or the next month. So I think when you're talking about returns, it should be, you should look at it long term, and not just, you have 100 shillings and then the next minute you have 125. It should be long term.
And then something else, if you see an opportunity that's giving you an ROI of 25%, then that means that even the minimum amount for you to invest will be very high. You're told to invest 150,000. Do you have that 150,000 right now? Anyway, Eric, someone is asking, how easy was it to transition from employment to starting your own company?
I think the biggest headache was family. I think we've been brought up, and especially our generation, Michael, been brought up in a certain way. So your dad wants you to study engineering or medicine, graduate. After graduation, go apply to Safaricom or Kenya Power, do for a couple of months. Then those progressive, that way of thinking. And I think being able to sort of tell them, you know what, I think I'm better off just starting my own company from scratch was really it was really stressful or unheard of. But for me, it was really, I had that conviction that, I was better off starting the company at that point than waiting for any other point. Of course, the transition is harder because now you don't have a fixed income stream, and you have to actually generate the revenues for yourself, and you're eating your savings. But again, I think for entrepreneurship, it's about the long-term goal and knowing that I'm sacrificing a few things now for 3, 4, 5 years down the line. So and I think that's a whole topic on itself. But it's a good thing that in the program you'll also learn about entrepreneurship.
All right, good. Thank you, Eric. Now, wow, I see time is flying, and questions are also flying in at a very high rate. So, what we are going to do, we are going to collect all the questions, and then we'll answer them at the end. Because right about now, we want to welcome another Erick, also from Hisa, to give us his take on finances, on all these things we are talking about. And most importantly, yes. Also, the two Ericks, you guys haven't mentioned Kenyan Wallstreet. I'd also like us to talk about that, because also we are also in partnership, and you guys are the ones who are in control there. So we'd like to combine that, so that we show guys that we offer wholesome, some financial wholesomeness. There's the learning, there's the actual investing, there's the news that you get from, from Kenyan Wallstreet, all that. So, Erick, Asuma, karibu sana, take it away. And then you guys can still be, typing your questions in the Q&A section or in the chat box, and then we will answer them later. All right, good. Erick, Asuma.
Thanks, Michael. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, I can hear you. I can see you clearly.
Okay, thanks a lot. I see quite a good number in attendance, and I'm happy to share what you're working on and how my journey has been. So thanks again to Centonomy for putting this together. I think it's quite a noble thing. I think for most young people here, it's one of those good initiatives that you can take and learn about how to build wealth, how to grow your career, and kudos to the Centronomy team. So I don't have like a structured sort of way in terms of how I'll tell this, but I'll just go through my story from the early beginnings up to where I am at the moment. So Erick, Asuma is my name. Usually people confuse us, so because we are two Ericks who are co-founders. So the only way we usually differentiate ourselves is to say Erick with a K, Erick without a K. So but still very confusing. So again, happy to be here. So I was born in a place called Kisii Town, but then I've lived all my life in a place called Migori Town. So born to very, very entrepreneurial family. My father is a civil servant, and my mother is a business lady. So she's been running a couple of businesses, and I think spending time with her from the early stages, I think that's what molded me to be where I am at the moment, even up to this day. So I learned a lot quite from, I think, from the early stages. She used to sell tomatoes. So immediately after school, during the primary school in the afternoon, she could give me a few tomatoes. go by the roadside, sell that till evening when she comes back. That kept me busy, and I think that really instilled some sort of entrepreneurial, that entrepreneurship in me. So lived in Migori for quite a while. I'm the firstborn in a family. We are 3, so I'm the firstborn, 2 boys and a sister. I'm married. I have 1 kid. I have 1 kid, 4 years old. So anyway, back to my journey. So I joined campus in around 2012 here in Nairobi. I think just like most people, you come to Nairobi because you're joining campus. So came to Nairobi to join campus around 2010, 2009, 2010 thereabout. And I think when I was growing up, I wanted to be a lawyer. I don't know what's changed along the way. I thought going that route I thought being a lawyer was something very fancy. Then there was one time I thought I could be a banker because I thought people were in the bank counting that they had access to money. But much later I came to learn it's not the case. So that's when I went to campus. I did Bachelor of Commerce at Kenyatta University along Thika Road. That was between 2011 thereabout. Around that time, not much was happening in terms of some of these courses. I think I used to go to campus, but what I had in mind at the time is I was looking for something that could keep me busy, or something that at least could get me excited and probably venture into business. So the good thing is I began thinking about what to do early in my life, around early years in campus. So around 2012, 2013, I started a business while in campus. So the business used to supply, basically used to supply government. We call it entrepreneurship. And I learned quite a couple of things from that. And I think lessons that I picked from that business, that's what helped me now into the journey of Hisa and Kenyan Wallstreet. So at the time, the government had a program called AGPO, Youth Access to Government Procurement Opportunities. And a friend of mine, I think one of the aunts of the mother was a senior government official at the Ministry of Youth. So she informed us much earlier that, hey, there's this government opportunity coming up for the youth. If you need to, if you want to access some of these opportunities, register your company and you can get access to some of these opportunities. That was around 2012, 2013. So I registered. I think our company, that was me and my friend, our company was among the first 10 sort of companies to be registered under that program. So basically what we used to do is to look for procurement opportunities. And we learned quite a lot. I think I had very high expectations and ambitions in terms of what I wanted to build with that business. I think I was very, very ambitious. I thought you could make millions overnight. I think that wasn't the case. So at the time, we got a couple of, we were a bit lucky. We got a couple of businesses that we did around a lot of supplies, supplying stationery, supplying things like vegetables, like the basic stuff. Did that was while I was in campus for between 2012, 2013 and around 2014 thereabout. Learned a lot from that business, and I had to quit that business around 2014. So in 2014, the reason that I quit that business, and I think this is just a lesson for most of you who are listening in terms of how to build wealth. I think we've been taught most of the time that the only way Kenyans make wealth is through entrepreneurship. I don't think it's the case, because at that point, it also needs a lot of hard work. But what I learned at that point, one experience taught me one thing. I was in campus, then someone told me from one of my counties back home, told me that, hey, there's this opportunity here that you'll be needed to supply the county government with some services, goods and services, and then you'll get quite some good money. Remember, the cash was about 20 million. 20 million, if you're just told 20 million in campus, it's a lot of money. So what I did is I traveled overnight. to a county called Nyamira to go meet the MCS so that I could meet them and convince them to give me an opportunity, a tender opportunity to supply, I think it was the prisons department, to supply them, I think that was groceries, vegetables, uniforms, and a few other things. The tender was, I was told the tender was worth 20 million. I left the exam room, I was still in campus, and went to speak to the MC so that I could get this tender. I traveled overnight, got there. To make it short, they told me, look, for you to get this opportunity, you need to give us about 100,000. If you give us 100,000, we'll make sure you get this opportunity. And then once you get the opportunity, you also give us a cut out of that entire cash. So I was in campus, not that I had the cash. So I borrowed quite some money from my mother, my aunties, and a few friends till I got that particular amount that I wanted. To make the story short, I was conned. I was conned, ran into debt, messed a lot of relationship between my parents and my aunties, because what I told them is that once this opportunity comes, I'll have enough money to pay you. That isn't the case. That not gas and plant, so plant quite a lot there. I had to stop that. I had to stop that and went and got an opportunity to work at the stock exchange, that's Nairobi Securities Exchange, as an intern around 2014, because after that experience, running into debts, messing up my relationship between my aunties, my family, I thought I needed to get something that I was very passionate about, something that I thought I would dedicate a bit of my time doing. And I was lucky, I got an opportunity to work at the NSC, Nairobi Stock Exchange, as an intern, joined as an intern. But I spent most of my time just being curious about how the exchange works, who are the major players, who are like how the tech department works, what's needed. And my stint at the NSC was less than 5 months, but I learned quite a lot, built a lot of relationships. I was actually under the HR department, but I ended up being sent to the minister. I'm assuming the NSC is having like a bond listing today. They have all these listings, all these major corporate events. Actually, my role changed from being the HR, but I was being sent to the minister's office to deliver a speech. I'm assuming it's coming to that. There's a listing today, and he needs to read a speech. You need to deliver the speech. Say if the listing was on Thursday, you need to deliver the speech a day earlier. So that's in the evening. So my work ended up being sent to these high-level sort of meetings to deliver this stuff. And I think that really helped me, because that's how I built most of my relationships that I have up to this date. So around the time also, NSC was doing something called demutualization. So it was moving from being a company that was owned by the brokers and being owned by the public. So NSC was listing itself on the stock exchange. So at the time, part of the remuneration that I was earning as an intern at the NSC, I wanted to buy shares of the NSC at 9 shillings, about 9 shillings. I applied to get the shares at 9 shillings, but unfortunately, my broker, there was quite a lot of paperwork involved for me to get access to the APO. To cut the long story short, I never got the shares that I had anticipated, because the shares rose from 9 shillings to 27 bob. I missed out on the opportunity because how much paperwork was needed for me to get access to the APO. So that really kickstarted a lot of things around what we are doing at Hisa and Kenyan Wallstreet. So I thought the easiest way to start at the time, because I'd missed out, I just imagined if me, an insider working at the exchange, I had missed out on an opportunity. What of the common man on the streets who didn't have access to, say, the networks, who was far away apart from Nairobi, and brokers were busy at the time. So I thought there's a good opportunity here to just start thinking about this particular problem. And the first thing that I thought of was the information side of things. So the information side of things was just giving people access to information. So at the time, that's when Kenyan Wallstreet started. It started as a Twitter handle. So because I had access to information, I used to post all this information online. People could follow, and then I think it after a couple of years that exploded. I left the NSC at the end of 2014. I went to work for a company called SAB Miller, a brewer. That they used to have these drinks called Reds, Keringet water. Again, I joined. I was in the HR. I was like a human resource associate. I was doing that in the day. The good thing I lived near the office, so it was like 5 minutes where my work was. It was like 5 minutes away. So I used to be the first one in the office early in the morning at 6, so that I could take care because the internet was there. Go to work at 6, do a lot of things on Kenyan Wallstreet, try to build up the foundation, I was writing the content by myself at the time. So I'd put up the website at the time. So I used to go up, put this content online, then start now my 8 to 5 work at around 8. And then during the day when I have time, I could still continue publishing. So I did that between around early 2015 to late 2015 when I decided to quit and concentrate full time. At the time, I made a decision that for me to quit and go into Kenyan Wallstreet, I needed to have something that would help me pay my bills, because at that point, Kenyan Wallstreet was still like at early stages. So I wasn't making that much and it wasn't making any revenue. So part of the savings that I had from the brewer, I started a bar stroke wines and spirits and a beer distribution business because I had the networks in the company. To cut the long story short, my parents told me, Erick, we are Christians and this thing you started, it's really not good for our reputation. Could you please look for something else to, we don't think we like the business, so just look for something else because we are Christians. It was a bad business, to be honest, because every time in the evening, maybe you employ someone. I'll give you an example of, I think if you employ, for those of you who run like a beer or a wines and spirits shop, the person that you employ will bring their own drinks and sell. So you come and check, you think my wines and spirits, it's moving. Like you see a lot of people. But when you look at the books at the end of the day, nothing is working, like you're at losses. Then the other case is the police or the authorities. So the police will come, walk by. The good thing, it was in a very good location, to be honest. So near the campus. So a lot of people used to drink, were my friends, though I never used to drink. So my friends, people along, like the youth along that area, it was along the road. The police will come every day. They give them like 300, 500. On a Friday, you come, you see, hey, your place is full. You think you're going to make money. At the end of the month, you have nothing. You have bills to pay. You have to get more stock. In the long run, I had to quit that business. I had to close it down because of the license, all those requirements, and jumped into Kenyan Wallstreet full time around 2016. So at the time, my father knew that I was jumping into this full time. What he did is that he took a circle of about 80,000 Kenyan shillings, told me how much do you have you had so that you can go into Kenyan Wallstreet full time. I think I had like 50K. So in total, my father gave me another 80,000, and that's what I used to like start building up now the foundation and go full time into Kenyan Wallstreet. Did that about 2016. We were a bit lucky early. We got a few clients who trusted us because we had begun doing this much earlier. So did that between 2016, 2017, trying to learn about the industry. At the time, not that serious, but used to pay the bills, pay the rent. At least the site had begun gaining traction. Around 2017, I needed to structure the business. 2017, 2018, I needed to structure the business like formally, like run it, because at the time my thinking was, if I need to grow this thing, I need to think of the software side of things. I'm not that technical, so I needed someone who could help me figure out the technical side of things. So what I said is, I'll try meet a lot of people, and I think if I meet the right partner, just like in marriage, These things are always very, very organic. So I think I worked with a couple of software engineers on a couple of products. And I think one time my friend also called Erick, a mutual friend between me and Erick, told me, hey, there's this guy you should meet called Erick Jackson. I said, well, it's fine. I think I met Erick around early 2017, 2018, and I was struggling with the website, Kenyan Wallstreet. I think every time Kenyan Wallstreet could reach like 10,000 users in a day, the site could crash. So I could receive a lot of emails, social media, whatever. You guys, the site is crashing. We can no longer trust you with business and finance needs. Then I think the first time Erick worked on the site, it has never crashed. And I think we began working on a couple of things, did a couple of projects, software projects for a number of local banks. So I could go source for the projects, Erick could come, write the code, solve all those headaches to do with technical. I think we began working together there around 2017, 2018. And I, just like marriage, like it was so organic. You don't need to convince someone to be a co-founder or a partner. Like it was so organic. I think by the time we started figuring out things, we began to scale. And that's how the idea of Hisa was. Like that's how the idea of Hisa came. We scaled up the media business, became at least now very stable, having like a bit of regular income from some of these clients, and then I began thinking of the software side. Initially, maybe this is a lesson to most of you. You can think of an idea. When you think of an idea, it's easier to think. You always say that, look, I'm assuming even for most of you are thinking of going into business. You say, I'm thinking of this good idea. I think I'll jump in. The execution side is very, very important. The idea is important, but I think the most important thing is getting down, solving all those problems. There are things that you haven't figured out when you think of the idea, but now getting down to think of the idea, working on it, trying to figure out the most, I think that's the most important thing. So we began now figuring out how do we deploy this product that we had. At the time, the name even wasn't Hisa. We had like a couple of names that we wrote down. We had a name called Market Feed. We were even thinking of calling it Kenyan Wallstreet app. I think we wrote like over 30 names. I even bought a dictionary one time while I was on a flight from Joburg to Nairobi, trying to think of what name could fit this new product that we wanted so that people could easily buy and sell stocks. It was headache. I think after we wrote a couple of names, we arrived at the name Hisa in 2019, late 2019. And I think that's after asking friends, family, until when we realized that when we were asking people, which name would you recommend? I think around 3-4 people were asking us, what's the Kiswahili name for stock? And I said Hisa. I realized if 3-4 people can tell me this, I think people at the workplace, I think I was even asking my friends. And then like it was so natural. I found out we got to the name Hisa after like 2-3 years. The good thing is that we had begun laying the foundation and building the structures of this thing that we thought was a good idea much earlier. So we began around 2019 building Hisa, laying out the foundational side of things. And I think from my journey is that our experience over the years trying to solve some of like our own personal challenges, that's what led us into here. And maybe the most important lesson that we are learning, if you think of a business, giving an example of my first case, I thought that going into entrepreneurship was a big thing, but I realized it's not what I was very interested. I think I was interested in the money bit, and I learned the hard lesson after being conned. Then the most important thing I learned, just look for something that you are passionate, a problem that you're facing, you as yourself and your friends. Try to solve that, solve it for yourself and your friends. Then if you solve it for like 3, 4, 10 people, then which is just a sign that other people have the same sort of problem. So maybe in terms of even about Hisa and what you are trying to do, there are two things. You can either start a business, which to be honest, starting a business is a headache. It's brain damage. If you want to sleep well, to be honest, if you want to sleep well, don't start a business. Like I'll be blank and very, very honest. The good thing is if you are young, if you are in your early stages, campus, you can take the risk. You can take the risk and do like you can, it's worth taking the risk. But if you want to sleep well, sleep 12 hours a day without worrying, I don't think business is a good route for you. The other approach is, if you don't want to start a business, then invest in a business. So the only way you can invest in a business, either get in at early stages, invest in a friend who is starting a business, or be a VC. And for you to be a VC or a venture capitalist, you must have a lot of money, to be honest. Or the easiest way for the normal man to invest in a good business is to invest through the stock market. So right now, I'm sure you can, I wish I can start a company like Amazon, but why don't you invest in a company that's like Amazon, equivalent to Amazon? And that's what we're trying to build with Hisa. We want to make sure that everyone has an equal opportunity to build wealth, not just for their families, but for themselves, because there's a statistics that came out recently that in Kenya, 70% of the people in Kenya who retire, usually retire, most 70% of the people retire with balances of less than $10,000 US. In short, that's like 1 million. How much? I'm assuming you retire at 55 or 60. You only have like 1 million to spend. That's not enough to take care of, to maintain your lifestyle, to build maybe things like medical expenses. So, and the main reason is most of our parents or people before did not have like some of these tools to build wealth. The only way they had is, I think what we've been taught is the only way to build wealth is to build wealth through buying land or real estate. But to be honest, someone at 20s, 19, 22 or below 25, do you have like, I'm assuming the minimum deposit you need to buy land is like 500,000 Kenyan shillings. How many of you can afford that kind of money? You can't. The good thing about the stock market and what you're trying to do with Hisa is that with as little as $5, that's like 500 Kenyan shillings, you have the same opportunity like the hedge funds, the banks, to compete with them and look for very good companies, invest your money, and then be a bit consistent. And then over time, I'll give you an example of a company like Tesla that in 2020, Tesla rose by nearly 700%. I'm assuming if you'd been following the journey of Tesla and at least every year or every month, you put in the little that you have into the company with hopes that, look, they're solving a very important problem, and you believe in the vision of Elon and the EV industry, you put your money. And what Erick was mentioning about the power of compounding interest, you start early, be consistent, then over time you realize, look, you've created so much from both the dividends and the capital gains. And in a way, you don't have to retire like our parents, because I'm assuming, I'll give an example of maybe our parents. They retire at, say, 55. They have, say, 1 million shillings in their bank accounts. They have like 10 pieces of land. An emergency comes up, thinking that I'm going to sell my land because they bought land, say, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, thinking the land will appreciate by a significant sort of amount. It's not the case. Land is very, very hard to liquidate. Getting a buyer for a land is extremely difficult. Unlike the stock market, if I have an emergency, I have, say, holdings worth 10 million, I have an emergency, I need 500,000 Kenyan shillings. You can easily put an order today. Within 3 days, you have your cash in your M-Pesa or your bank account. Like, that's the beauty about the stock market. And the growth is that in as much there's a bit of risk, but if you can diversify, look for extremely good companies with growth or with consistent sort of returns, I think it's a massive, massive opportunity. And maybe something that I can also talk about, maybe the key themes that I learned, or the key takeaways that I've learned in my short sort of lifespan being in business and even when growing up. One is about taking risks, and I learned this from my mother. I think my mother, I'm not sure there's a risk. I've never seen a risk taker like I thought I used to take risks, but my mother is on another level. My mother can have, say, she can even hold money for chama, say 100,000. And she runs an hardware shop in a place called Migori. And she hears this good opportunity to supply, say, timber or cement somewhere. She'll take that chama money and put it into that business, hoping that before the end of the week, she'll have made her returns and refund the cash. At times, she always gets disappointed, but what I've seen is that when she's taken like a lot of risk, that's where the return is always high. So I think from the early stage, it's good to take a lot of risks. Of course, very calculated, but then I think the higher the risk, the higher return, but also it should be calculated risk. Most of us are a bit different, that those who take high risk, those who are a bit conservative. So I think it's good to just learn about yourself, what kind of person are you, and then take that particular opportunity. The other thing I think is to always keep learning and always be seeking new opportunities and networks beyond, say, your cycle. And that's what I've always done for myself. Always like to learn new things. Always like to learn new things. Looking for new friends beyond my network, and I think that's very important. The other thing is about buildings. I think for me, look, I'm still in my early stages of trying to build my career and wealth. I'm not yet there where I should be. I think I've barely scratched like 1% of what I think I need to do. But what I've learned is that building something valuable takes a lot of time, and it's extremely difficult. There's nothing like, I don't think there's something like an overnight success. I think it usually takes a lot of time. So if someone promises you that, look, bring your money, I give you like returns extremely above market rates, be very cautious with such kind of person. So building something valuable takes a lot of time, but I think the most important thing is always not to quit and continue doing it. Find people that you are like, if you're in a business, find people that you enjoy working with, people that you enjoy doing things with. You learn a lot from them, people who challenge. And I think that's the thing that I found in a person like Erick. We usually have a lot of our own challenges, but as long as we sit down and solve them, the next day we are passionate and we continue building. And we've never quit. At times business becomes very hard. All of us are stressed. We have families. You also have families here. We always think, now what next? We sleep, think about it, and then the next day we solve again. We continue with the journey, and I think that's very fun and very enjoyable. The other thing is, I think mistakes. The last one is just a mistake that I made. A mistake that I made early in my career. A few years back, I think I bought a very nice car. And I think most of you are going to make these mistakes. So I thought having a very good car, a fuel guzzler, is something that is worth it. So then came to realize much later, I don't think I needed the car. I bought a car, an old car. I think it was locally used. Bought it very expensively, and then within a year or two, the money that I spent on repairing the car, it's broken down, need to fix this. It's nearly 3 times the money that I used to buy the car. So what I learned is that I wish I could have started with a smaller car, say even a Demio. For you, even if you don't like Demios, even a Premium or anything, then build slowly. Once I have like enough cash, I can easily get the car that I wish, that my dream car. So instead of starting with a bigger car, which is going like to cost you a lot, that was a very expensive mistake, to be honest. So it's something that I think even for most of you guys, when you start earning some good money, start with something small, then grow along the way. The last one is that always reach out to people that you look up. Take that risk, and if it's a CEO or anyone that you think this person is very senior, reach out to them. And give an example of in 2014, while I was in the campus, I applied to be a member around 2012, 2013. A new club was starting in Nairobi. The club was called Capital Club. So it was a membership club for just CEOs, high-level government officials. I read in the newspaper, there's this new club called Capital Club, membership only. Application fee is about 1 million Kenyan shillings. I was in campus. And for you to be a member, you need to be referred by a member, and you need to be a high-level person. I took the risk, went into their website, sent an email saying, hi, my name is Erick, an upcoming CEO. I want to be a member of your club because I think that's where I meet the people that I need to network with. And I think it's something that's valuable to me. They got back to me while I was in campus, told me, hi Erick, unfortunately at this moment you are taking you don't fit the bill. However, we will be happy to welcome you in future. 4 or 5 years down the line, I met the owner of the club, told him about what like had applied to this, and he was surprised, and we became very good friends. Like, he's my mentor up to this moment. I got free membership to the club without spending even a shilling. And the people that I thought I wanted to network with those years back, I like had free access to some of these guys. So I think it's more of like a dream that I thought I couldn't manage, but then I took the risk, just sent out the email, and I got the opportunity. And maybe part of that, one time I also met the CEO of the CMA, still in campus on the streets of Nairobi, outside Serena, I think are over there. Asked him, hi, Paul, I think it was called Paul Mudaore, was the CEO of the CMA then. I told him, hi, I think was with his bodyguard. Jumped into him and told him, hi, my name is Erick, I like what you're doing, blah, blah. And then I think he never had time for me. But then few years later, when Kenyan was picked, like we came to interact one-on-one, became very good friends. I even reminded him of that particular incident. He never remembered. But I think at times things that you can dream of can really become into reality. So I think it's good time. It's as you're young, take risks, like try to look for opportunities. And I think those are my key takeaways, and probably that's my journey in terms of how we started and where we are. So I'll open it up for questions, comments, or any feedback. Thank you.
Wow. Hey, what a story, Erick. What a story, man. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Really, you are a true definition of an entrepreneur, first of all. Umefanya vitu hapa na pale, yani, I like. Very good story, very inspiring, and also very practical, guys can relate with. Yeah, yani, anyway, and then also shooting your shot. Capital Club, you need 1 million, my guy. But you said, no, I'm going to write an email. And later on you, very good. Anyway, guys, if you have questions for Mr. Erick Asuma, write them on the chat, write them on the Q&A section, and then we will get into them. Now, because of time, I'd like to welcome Shanice. Yes, Shanice is with us. Shanice has been able to go through Centonomy Campus Edition, and she's just here to share her experience. And then after Shanice talks, then we can now get into a Q&A session with the two Ericks, and also Shanice, and also myself. Yes, Capital Club still exists, someone is asking. But anyway, Shanice, welcome.
So, hi everyone. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, you are.
So I'll just answer, I'll just share my experience going through the Centonomy Campus Edition program. So the first prompt was like, why did I take the program? I actually took the program because I wanted to have a better understanding of financial knowledge and how to go about managing money as a young adult. Because I feel like as a young adult, we come across so much money. In as much as tunaweza sema, like there's little money, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of money that we end up mismanaging. So I wanted to understand how to manage my money and actually gain financial knowledge. Then through the course, I expected to learn about money market funds and how to go about and even actually how to go about money market funds. And also the way through, I think through the session, Michael has shared about how you can have money work for you. So through the Centonomy Campus Edition program, I expected to learn how I can have money work for me, and actually not, you're not doing the hard work as much, but you're actually working smart and effectively and efficiently. And what I actually learned, I learned so many things, but I'd like to mention but a few. One of the things that I learned was how I can have passive income through investing my savings. And it's actually a good opportunity. Come to think of it, most of the time you find that you have access to money, then you put it in Mshwari, it's just there, like it's just not doing anything, it's not earning anything, it's just there. But you see, when you show up and actually take a chance and invest the money that you are saving, there are higher chances of that money giving you a return at the end of the day. And I feel like that's a good opportunity. So you can be on the lookout of money market funds that actually are flexible with what you're looking for, and actually give it a shot, like you just try. And also I also learned about budgeting. The way, I think through this session, there has been a couple of instances where we've been mentioning how you can manage the money that you have, because in as much as we want a lot of money, we cannot be able to manage all that much money if we're not able to manage the small money. I think we say it, like, if you are faithful with a little, it's possible for you to be faithful with a much more. So I learned a lot about budgeting and how I can actually manage the money that I have on, like, how I can manage the money I have right now. Si pesa yenye natarajia ati nangoja deal livane or something of the sort. No. Then I also okay, and also one thing that I'd like to mention, for the young people, there is equal opportunities for every one of you. Like, if you have ideas, it's up for you to show up. Like, you take those ideas, you process them, and then you actually sit down and see the opportunities that you can actually channel those ideas and make a lifetime from those ideas again. And why I'd recommend this program, it's because I'd recommend this program because I feel like as young people, again, we have so much capacity, we have so much time on our hands, and if we have, and we also have so much resources dispensed on our hands again. So I feel like this program has it does a major task in empowering the young people. And I believe young people who are empowered, they make better decisions. And if you make better decisions, it means you have the capacity to improve the quality of your life. And through, I feel like, again, if we take these programs, we're actually motivated to do something. We're actually motivated to even live a quality life, not even the mediocre life that we are saying that we are going through the education system. After that, we are working, then we're just existing. We're just existing, we're not living. So yeah. And again, this program encouraged me to go about my entrepreneurship journey. Since, like, after the program is done, you just left with everything that you've learned. Now it's up to you to actually implement and apply what you've learned. And through that, I was motivated to start my business, of which I have started. Yeah, I started an apparel business, and yeah, thank you.
All right, great. Good stuff, Shanice, and congratulations on the major steps that you're making. You are now an entrepreneur, fully fledged entrepreneur with business. You guys can check out her business. Let me just display that on the screen. Yes, there, Rain Apparel. So you can check her out. Support local business. Yes. All right, fantastic. Now let us go now straight into what I had prepared for you guys, and to where is that? All right, let me get this up. All right, great. Now, let's talk about time. When you talk about money, you always have to talk time as well, because they say time is money. Now, let me ask you guys a question. What is your value per hour? Do you guys know how much you're worth per hour? Let's do a small exercise. Let's do a small exercise, and this might apply to you, especially if you have an income. So let's do this. Just check out your calculators and put in how much you get, the income that you have every month. And income can be money from your business, money from your employment, if you're employed, if you have an internship. Income can also be money from your folks or guardians. Yeah, pocket money, allowance, all that. Just open your calculator and put in that amount and then divide by 160. All right. So whatever you have, whatever you earn at the end of the month, I'd like you to divide that by 160. 160, right? I hope you have the figure, right? Whatever you have per month, whatever you get per month, either from your business, if you're employed, I know there are some of us who might be in campus and we have opportunities to work, maybe in campus, work study, or maybe you have an internship. Again, if you have an allowance or pocket money from the folks, divide whatever you get by 160. Now, look at that figure and tell me what you feel about that figure, if you have that figure. If you have that figure, let me know what you have. What you think about that figure, because that figure is exactly how much you're worth per hour, right? Martin, yes. Again, don't you worry, Martin. Awareness is the first step, right? So now we are aware of how much you're worth per hour. Now, let me ask you, your pesa, that money, that figure that you've seen, how easily do you spend it? Franklin is bold enough to say 250. How easily do you spend 250, Franklin? Victor anasema chwani. Victor, how easily do you spend that 50 shillings or Cynthia 150? Right, Alexander is saying repeat. Whatever you earn from either your business, whatever you earn, either you have an income from your job, if you're in campus and uko internship, ama attachment unapewa do, ama allowance, ama pocket money, yeah, that amount divided by 160. Now, guys, don't you worry. That figure should not scare you a bit, should not scare you. But that figure is there to show you exactly how much you're worth per hour. All right? So easily. All right? Now, the thing is, awareness. Now, let's go to the next one. There are these people who are saying, I found the problem. We earn money 5 days a week, but we spend money 7 days a week. Right? Yeah, for most of us will be employed. We'll be working from Monday to Friday. But you'll find that you spend money 7 days a week. All right? So guys, Esther, it's heartbreaking. Don't you worry, don't you worry. At least you're aware. All right? Again, the first step is awareness. All right? Good. Now, let's go. Let's talk about time value of money. Now, and this is how it works, guys. And when you come to class, we'll show you exactly how to calculate this. All right? Now, a 25-year-old invests 300 shillings today per day. So that amounts to 9,125 per month and 109,000 per year. All right? Great. Now, at age 30, in 5 years' time, they will have 669,000. All right? At age 10, at age 35, in 10 years' time, they will have 1.7 million. All right? In 15 years' time, at age 40, they'll have 3.4 mic. All right? So just by investing 300 shillings a day. All right? In 20 years' time, when they're 45, they will have 6.2 million. Just by investing 300 shillings a day. But again, you have to be 25 to start. All right? Now, if you're 30 years old, like I am, 30 plus, it now goes to 540 shillings per day. It can't be 300 shillings, right? It becomes 540 shillings per day, right? Which amounts to 197,000 per year, right? Now, the older you get, guys, if you see this, the older you get, the more you have to put away, right? So if you're 35 years old and you want to have 6 million by the time you retire, my guy, you will have to start saving 1,000 shillings and 77 shillings, 1,077 shillings a day, right? So guys, the older you get, the more you need to keep aside, right? Time value of money, right? So guys, start now. With that money that you have, start now, all right? Now, if you're 40 years old, then you need to put aside 2,800 a day, so that in 5 years, when you're retiring, you will have 6 million. Imagine. So guys, the thing is, the older you get, the more money you have to put aside, right? But for you guys, remember, the biggest advantage you have is time. You are young, so you have time to start investing now, and time to start making mistakes now. And I'd like to go back to what Erick was talking about, right? Erick talked about missing an opportunity, and I think that missing an opportunity can also be an opportunity, right? At times, it could be good because also, you see that opportunity he missed out on investing in the NSC when NSC was listing in the stock market, and him working there, that opportunity gave him an idea, and he asked himself, if I, Erick, I am working for this organization and I missed out on an opportunity on investing in the same organization where I work, then what about that other person who doesn't even know about this, right? And he thought, wow, okay, so here's an opportunity, here's a problem. I can do what? I can consolidate information and give out to guys so that they can get this opportunity. And how did he do that? He started tweeting, right? So he started tweeting information about, finances. And then later on, the tweets became many, and he started a blog. And now that blog is a fully fledged website, Kenyan Wallstreet. And also, as he has told us, they started getting hits of 10,000 users a day, 10,000 users a day, and it started crashing. And then that's how he got the other Erick on board, and to be able to accommodate more guys. So, guys, I'd like you to take this opportunity. Because you have taken your time to attend this program, to attend this webinar. I'd like to encourage you to take action, right? Take action, guys, whichever action it might be. It might be starting to think about your finances, starting to track how much money you spend every day, all right? Starting to have a plan for your money, because I always say, if you don't have a plan for your money, someone else will have a plan for your money. And what I'm talking about is simply have a budget, know how much is coming in and how much is going out, right? And then with that, we can now be able to start saving, start investing towards the future that we'd like for ourselves, all right? Great. Now, allow me now to go straight into answering some of the questions that you guys have. And what I'm going to do, I am going to look at some hands that have been raised. So I see Josephat Kimani and Ivy Mugura, you've raised your hands. Kindly type in your questions in the chat or in the Q&A, and we can get into that, all right? So let's go back now to the questions. So guys, if you have questions, now is the time to put them again on the chat or in the Q&A session, and we can go through them, all right? Let me just scroll up my chat to see the questions that we might have missed. Just give me a minute. And I see more questions are coming. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming, and we will answer as many as possible. Just let me scroll up so that we can get all of them. Almost there, guys. All right. So I saw a question from Collins. Collins was asking, how easy was it to transition from employment to start your own company? And I think Eric answered that. And then Philip had asked, is there a difference between stock markets and the Forex? And yes, Philip, there is a big difference between the stock markets and the Forex. And the difference is stock markets, you are trading with shares and you become part owner of a company. But with Forex, as the title suggests, it's foreign exchange. So foreign exchange of currency, right? So you just, trade the dollar, trade the euro. Yeah, that's the difference between stock exchange or stock market and the Forex. So in the stock market, you're trading shares. In the Forex, you're trading currencies, all right? And then I'd like to welcome the two Ericks to answer this. Does Hisa participate in SLB? SLB is shares, lending, and borrowing. Eric, you can help us out on that.
Yeah, I'll take that up on the SLB, Securities Lending and Borrowing Program. So at the moment in Kenya, it's only, I think it's only open to corporates. So entities like, say, pensions, fund managers have been piloting that program among themselves. I'm not sure it's open to the retail investors, maybe a few, but I'm not sure. So Hisa at the moment, we don't offer that. What we offer at the moment is access to the US stock market, companies like Microsoft, Apple, and the rest. And then we are working on having the ability to buy local stocks, which will be live in the course of this month. That's local securities as well. I think as the market develops going forward, I believe there's an opportunity to bring more products like securities, lending, and borrowing. Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you, Eric. All right, Sheila had asked, what is the difference between Forex trading and cryptocurrency? Eric, can you take that?
Sure. So maybe I can separate it between three: the Forex market, the stock market, and the crypto market. The Forex market, quite huge. I think it's over $6 trillion traded on a single day, open 24 hours. However, to be a Forex trader, you need a lot of skills. You can't start trading today, expect to make profits by tomorrow. The risk is extremely high, and I'm sure if you've seen the people offering Forex services, they usually have a disclaimer that this is a very risky thing and you can lose all your funds. So usually the way the Forex market works, it works on leverage. So say Kenya, say the US dollar versus the Russian, is it called the Russian ruble, for example, right? So maybe trading quite fairly, then all of a sudden, you hear news that Russia is fighting with Ukraine. There are all these stations. What happens? People began dumping the Russian ruble. The US dollar rises. If say you put in 1,000 Kenya shillings, that's like $10, hoping that the Russian ruble will go up and it goes down, which means you lose all your money just like betting. That's like you lose all your money. So the good thing about Forex is that they give you a leverage. So up to say 2,000 pips, if I'm not wrong. So if you have 10,000 Kenyan shillings, you have a liquidity of, you can bet with say 20,000 of what you have, something like, but unfortunately, it's very unpredictable, very risky. People usually lose all their money. And what we've seen is churn rate for most people in the Forex market is quite high. So usually because you can't compete with banks, these are people who have inside knowledge, they have all these sophisticated machines and computers and knowledge, like to do the analysis, like to predict all these things. So for like a layman, it's a bit difficult. The stock market on the other hand is that it gives you an opportunity to get access to be a part owner of a company. If you bought 10,000 shillings of Apple or Tesla or say, Amazon stock via Hisa, for example. If Apple, for example, in the coming month, they have an AGM, all Hisa users who had bought Apple stock, they got an email telling them, you now have an opportunity to decide on how the company will be run. You vote on how Tim Cook is going to be awarded. If you think, look, through Hisa, if you think Tim Cook is being awarded a lot of money, I think last year he was paid more than, if I calculate into Kenyan shillings, should be more than 300 million, if I'm not wrong, plus the stock options. It's a lot of money. If you think that money is too much, you have the right as a shareholder through Hisa to vote and say, no, I think this cash is too high. We should reduce the amount that Tim Cook is being paid. Tesla, you still have a right through Hisa. So we give you access to direct market access and vote on how companies are being run. It's not CFDs, like it's proper access to markets. If a company goes up 100%, your shares go up 100%. If a company's shares fall by 100%, you also lose the same. So it's basically direct access to the market. When it comes to crypto, fairly new, but like a fast growing asset class that it's something that we as a company, we are keenly following. We've been writing about this. We've been following up from the early stages. We usually have like internal discussions and discuss like what's the future. We think it's a good asset class. However, at the moment, there's like the regulation is in the gray area. So our central bank doesn't recognize cryptocurrency. So even as a company, we can't offer that as Hisa. But it's a bit speculative. I think for me, the best advice is that just like go as if you are learning, study the industry, then risk a bit of your money slowly. Don't like put everything into crypto, but at least have some exposure, say in Bitcoin, just to see how that's performing, but don't like put everything into it. Then there's a question here. I think someone is asking, does Hisa act as a stockbroker? So in terms of how Hisa works, we are a tech company. We are not a broker or a bank. So what we did is that, because this is something that was fairly new in terms of how we've structured the product, when this was still an idea, my co-founders and I reached out to the regulator, trying to tell them what we're building. And what they did is they told us, you guys aren't a licensed broker, but we can help you guys figure out how to navigate this, because we are going to offer multiple products. A broker, say a stockbroker, will only offer you equities. That's it. So for Hisa, we are going to offer you US stocks, Kenyan stocks, maybe Nigerian stocks, South African stocks, mutual funds, bonds, savings, information, which is like we see ourselves as a tech company. What we do is we partner with the licensed players. So at the moment, if you try to say buy a share via Hisa, when you click deposit or you deposit cash into your wallet, that cash doesn't go into our bank accounts because we are not licensed to take people's money. We are partnered with a bank that collects people's money. And when you register that and you deposit via M-Pesa or bank, the notification that you get, it's through a bank called Faida Investment Bank, whom we are partnering with to hold users' funds, and they do the settlement. What we've done is we build the tech to enable you to place orders quickly, all those stuff. In US, you get a broker partner or a brokerage bank. We partner with them, we route orders, then the settlement happens within all these partners or financial institutions that we work with, but we build the entire tech. I hope that's a bit clear in terms of how we work.
All right, great. Thank you, Eric. I'm seeing another question here from anonymous attendee. Can someone buy shares, place orders on Hisa app, even when markets are closed, like weekend?
Exactly. So that's the best thing. So Hisa enables you to place orders even over the weekend. I'm assuming, I'll give you an example. I'm assuming you are well connected enough and you hear news by maybe this news that came out yesterday. There's a US company called Peloton that I think it manufactures a lot of these exercise equipments. It was regarded as a bit innovative during the pandemic because a lot of people are doing exercise at home. Recently, they released their full year earnings for 2021. Then the management gave their maybe expectations going forward in the coming year, because as a listed company, you have to disclose all this information in terms of what you expect. The earnings also revealed that the company is the company had more of declined. So the share price went down. However, news came out yesterday after the US stock market closed. So the US market is usually opened Kenyan time, no East African time. It's opened 5:30 p.m. in the evening, Kenyan time. So that's like 9:30 a.m. in US. Then closes at about midnight Kenyan time. That's about 3-4 p.m. in US. So news came out after US market had closed that companies like Amazon are looking at acquiring the company. So what happens? Peloton's shares went up. So if you're on Hisa and you think shares of this company will rise in the next 1 week, if this information is true, or maybe you have inside information, you place an order, your order will go into the key. Settlement won't happen over the weekend. So on Monday, when the US stock market opens, your order immediately gets executed. So the good thing about Hisa, you can place orders, execution happens when the market is opened. I hope that's clear.
Yes, great. Thank you for that. Right. Someone was asking, Thotho was asking, quick question. Why were we dividing the total amount we get in a month by 160? All right. Simple. We work on average 8 hours a day, right? 8 hours a day and then 5 days a week. So we multiply 8 by 5, that's 40 hours, all right? And then we work 4 weeks in a month, right? So our month is made of 4 weeks. So 40 times 4 becomes 160. So that's why we would divide by 160. All right, great. And I see Dan had answered that. Thank you, Dan Mwangi. Martin is asking, how can I increase my value per hour from the amount I've found to a better amount? Come to the Centonomy Campus Edition class and we will show you. But remember, Martin, the thing is, first of all, that money that you're making, how are you spending it? You know, if you're spending it wisely, well and good, right? Because it doesn't matter how much you make, it matters how much or how you are managing or planning that money, right? That's what matters. How you're planning for that money, how you're using that money, that's what matters, right? But simple, one way to increase, again, increase your sources of income, start a business, right? Find an opportunity, especially if you're in campus, that you can, get some money. Start working now, apply for internships, for attachments, yeah, right? Simple, guys, simple. But we say create value in any way, in any format, and you will be good. So create value and money will come from that value. All right. I see Jadida saying a very informative meeting. Thank you. All right. And then you are asking Jadida, how do you transition your business from a hobby to an actual profitable business? Erick, would you take that, please? How do you transition your business from a hobby to an actual profitable business?
Okay, interesting. So in terms of transitioning, I think it's a bit organic. At times you have to do it for long without thinking of how do I make money from your side hustle. So for me and the team, initially it was this something that we love doing. We think there's something quite unique. There's a problem here to solve. So initially, to be honest, I never even thought about the money bit of it. What I just wanted to is because my friends were asking, where can I get information? So initially, like you do it for a while. So, and I think at the early stages when you're young, because you don't have responsibilities like family, like you can always have like another income while you do this as a hobby, while you try to figure out a few things. So, because that's how like most companies were started. Extremely good companies like say, Apple, Microsoft, all this, like, I think initially they were hobbies for the first 10, 6 years. I'm not sure the likes of Bill Gates or Steve Jobs were making money from them. It was a hobby. They loved computers. They loved software. Then over time, they found a problem because they were in the industry. They were trying to learn, solved that very well, transitioned into a company. So I think it takes a bit of time. So I don't think you wake up one day and start and say that I want to start a business. To be honest, this is my own view. I might be wrong, but this is my view about starting a business and starting a company. You don't wake up and say, I want to start a company. you solve, it's organic that you just realize, hey, I think I have this problem. Can I find a way to solve it just by myself? You solve it for a while, then you get people who are passionate about the same problem. You come together, try to solve it without even thinking about the money bit. If you solve it for yourself, clients will naturally come, like slowly. However, at the initial stages, because you need to pay bills, I think you still need to find something that you do on the side, and also try to figure the business side. But the key goal is never about making the money at the early stages. I think with time, once you've done it for a couple of years, you'll realize like it will become so organic once you transition after a few years after trying to do that particular thing. So I think it should be organic. You can't wake up and say, I want to start a company today and make money tomorrow, unless you're an entrepreneur. You call somebody, you form a company, give me a tender, I give you a cut, which isn't innovation, to be honest.
All right, great. Erick, now, that question also came with another question attached to it. How do you differentiate your business from the rest, especially in a time where the youth are owning a business is more of a flex than a serious venture?
Okay, interesting. So I think for a business, it's good to differentiate yourself from your competition, or like generally it's good to be different. And I think that's what differentiates Hisa from Hisa or Kenyan Wallstreet from what has been in the market. First, what we've done is that, maybe I'll speak in the example of Hisa. First, our vision is to educate people. So many people want to invest, but they don't have access to information. So through Hisa, we leverage what we have on Kenyan Wallstreet, the media. We power the app through information. Most brokers will give you an app or a web-based, you invest directly, like without giving you those research and information. So that's one. We try to give you as much information so that you can make sound investment decisions. Like before you invest, at least you have some information. We are still in the early stages. You are learning. I'm sure what Erick is always working on is how to improve that. The recommendation engines, I think we're going to bring a lot of other things. That's one. Then the other thing is that I think on the customer service side of things, what we want to do going forward is that as a company, we want to make sure customers, like their queries are solved much earlier. If a customer says, I think we need this product, we work closely with the customer. Like the way we worked with them when we're building the product, we were actually getting feedback from users who are reading the site Kenyan Wallstreet, who are telling us, you guys, we read all this information, but we don't have like a proper place you can execute or buy shares. So we combined like two elements of a business, and we think that's our moat. So unlike just giving you a trading platform without giving information, so we think we take users' feedback, our engineering team iterates on that, makes a lot of changes. Then like we're able to move extremely fast. And like a bank, I'm sure if you tell a bank right now, you need to change this button from here to here, or I think you need to add this service. It's going to take a lot of management meetings and board approvals. Look, we are a startup. We want to move with speed. So I think that's what really differentiates us from, say, our competition and from people who are in the market.
All right, good. And then I'd also like to comment about this notion of business being a flex. Guys, you will see that the serious people are not actually out there flexing. Like, have you seen Erick? Erick, do you flex on Instagram? And yet you're the CEO of Hisa app. I don't think you do, right? But anyway, guys, I think we should take away that notion of what we are seeing, especially on social media, where we are trying to, sugarcoat entrepreneurship to be this cozy, this, fun thing to be doing. Well, actually, even as Erick has said, you get to have sleepless nights if you're an entrepreneur, So it's not all cozy as people are showing it. But I'd advise you to get into the bus, start the business, and you will know. All right, great. And then someone else is asking, Dorcas is asking, in the Centonomy classes, do you actually get to invest, or is it just theory stuff? So at Centonomy, again, what we do is we give you the power, we give you the knowledge, we give you the information to go and take the necessary steps to start saving, investing, taking care of your personal finances. All right. So our job is to give you the information, the tools, so that now you apply them in your life. Because again, personal finance management, personal, all right? And then because of things like investing where you have to go through other people, that's why we are partnering with Hisa app, right? And if you are here early enough, you learn that if you register for the program starting on the 26th of February, you get to have an account, a demo account on Hisa app, where you can start, trading, mock trading of shares before you actually start trading. All right. So it's not just theory. So it's theoretical and also practical. All right. Because we give you the tools, and then now we're also partnering with others who are doing this. All right. I hope that answers your question, Dorcas. And then Karen was asking, what time do the Centonomy program run? Time is from 9 a.m. Saturday morning. Yes, 9 a.m. Saturday morning to 12. All right. Great. Eric, I see someone is asking. I'm from Kampala, Uganda, and I just want to give a little feedback from the Hisa app. I think you should increase the deposit methods like mobile money to increase users. All right. Eric, feedback for you from guys in Uganda. All right, great. And then let me go to some of the questions that are here in the Q&A section. Teresa was asking, please advise us if it is wise to put money in circles. Now, when you come to the Centronomy program, we tell you that you put your money depending on what your goal is, right? So Teresa, what is your goal? What do you want to achieve, right? So if you're putting your money in a circle, then that means that you would like to get credit easily, because a circle means savings and credit cooperatives, right? So when you're going into a circle, think about it this way: I'm joining this circle so that I am able, one, to get access to credit, right? And then number two is I can get to enjoy dividends, right? If the circle makes a profit, right? So Teresa, it depends on what you want to achieve, right? So if you want to enjoy dividends from the circle, yes, then you can put your money in a circle. But just make sure that circle is regulated by SASRA, all right? Guys, Marcy is also asking, what are the safest money market funds to invest in at the time? Marcy, do this. Go to the Capital Markets Authority website, www.cma.or.ke, and look at the licensed fund managers. And then these licensed fund managers, they will have the authority and from CMA to actually take your money and invest in other markets, right? So guys, I cannot overemphasize on this. Whenever you're getting into an investment, always make sure that it is regulated, all right? So Marcy, go to the CMA website and check for regulated fund managers, and then you can decide on the list which one to go into, all right? Teresa is putting money in a circle, an investment. Yes, it could be, again, depending on how you look at it. If you are there for the dividends, then yes. Some circles are giving dividends of up to 10% per annum. So in that way, it is an investment. All right, great. I think we've tackled that. Sandra is asking, is it wise to save money in money market funds? All right, just so that you can earn some interest on the cash you're saving. Yes, it is wise to save in a money market fund because they will give more returns than the current account or a savings account. But remember, it depends which money market fund is it. And then also it depends on if it is money for an emergency fund, then we wouldn't advise, because it is like locking your money. So when you invest in a money market fund, just know before you get your money, there are 2 to 4 working days that you'll have to wait before getting back your money, right? But guys, we answer all these questions in the Centonomy Campus Edition program. So register today at only 500 bob. And yeah, you can start your journey on wealth creation right now. Now, I'd like to thank everyone for taking your time, guys. Remember, you have a head start, because why? You took your time and you attended this. So guys, now the second step is to implement. All right, implement, guys. Take some of the lessons from today's webinar and put them into practice. Right, start the lessons, put them into practice now, and you will be good to go. All right. Again, I'd like to give a big shout out to Erick and Erick Jackson and Erick Asuma, guys from Kenyan Wallstreet, and also Hisa. And also like to, thank Shanice for taking her time. And also, guys, I'd like to ask Erick, the two Ericks, if you can share your contacts with guys so that they can get a hold of you if they have any questions regarding what you're doing at Hisa, what you're doing at Kenyan Wallstreet. You can post your contacts there on the chat. All right, great. All right, remember, guys, register for Centonomy Campus Edition classes starting 26th of February, and every Saturday. This is what we talk about: principles of personal finance, time value of money and debt, savings and investments. This is where now Erick are going to come and show us how we can do some demo trading in this class, right? And then we talk about entrepreneurship, all those questions you had on business, we talk about in there, and then also careers, and then a mentorship after that. All right. Again, the school fees is there. Right now we have a 10% discount. Register today at 500 bob only, and then the tuition fee is 14,300, payable in installments of 5K, and 4,300. All right. Register. That's how you can register. 500 bob, M-Pesa payable number 986850. The account number is first name plus the word campus. All right. And for more inquiries, talk to Esther at centonomy.com, and her number is right there. All right. Great. Now, I cannot end the session without talking about our great alumni. Stories from guys who've done our program, and I'm sure you all know Home 254, and we are proud to be associated with Home 254 because the one and only JB Jura was an attendee of Centonomy Campus Edition, and this is what he had to say from attending the program. He said, without the classes of time value of money and saving the investment, I would not have known how to save the money I get from the business and reinvest it back to grow the business. Time value of money was my best class as I got to know the money I need to save at a certain time. Every young person should enroll for the program because I'm sure it works. Yes, it does work. It worked for JB and it will work for you, right? And you can catch this and more stories on Centronomy YouTube channel, all right? Great. Let's see another story here from Temina Semo, who recently graduated. Temina is a content creator. And before the program, she was a terrible saver, right? So before the class, she had been saving for 6 months for a camera and still hadn't gotten into it. And then 2 months after doing the program, she was able to get it by implementing the lessons on grouping costs, what I needed, and not spending on what I did not need, and making small changes such as making coffee instead of buying each week, all right? And again, get the full story on Centonomy YouTube channel. All right, thank you guys for taking the time to come for this webinar. And yes, register now for the program. And yes, see you in class. And also we have a free trial class, so come and experience what the class is like. This is free on the 19th of February from 10 to 12. You'll get to experience a free class just to see if the program is for you, but I know it is for you. But if you're in doubt, come on the 19th of February and you will experience what the class is actually like. All right, great. And then at Centonomy we have a book, Making Sense, courtesy of our CEO and our former CEO and founder, Ms. Sheken Duati. She's the author of Making Sense. It's a book on real conversations about personal finance, and this book you can get it online and then on the bookshops at just 1,200 only. The book is now on TBC Textbook Center, Bookstop, Prestige Bookshop, Mama Ngina Street, Half Price Bookshop, out of stock in Uganda, Let me see if we have other people. Yeah, yes, and also Half Price Bookshop, Writers Guild, Kibanga Books, Patmat Bookshop. Yani, the book is everywhere. And actually, guys, this book is for you, right? Because it has stories of people who've been able to create wealth, through first of all coming to the Centronomy program and implementing what they learned, right? Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time, the first step, and now it is time to take the second step and start implementing at least some of the things that you've learned from the webinar today. And yeah, with that, you will be on your journey on wealth creation, right? So guys, thank you so much. It is now 12:23, and we'd like to end the session there. Goodbye, God bless, and keep safe, guys.